over the past number of years here. Started in Philippines. Some people would say that, oh, well, Philippines is a place you leave to grow your career. Well, Lars has shown that, among many who've shown that Philippines is a place to really grow your career. So he did so well here that he's now country head of Philippines, South Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, and active in a number of other countries as well. So really glad to have Lars, and he's with the Regis Spaces organization. This is the world's largest provider of shared office space and co-working space. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing Lars' story about the trends and what's going on in his business. So please welcome Lars Wittig of Regis Spaces. Glad to have you, Lars.
Welcome to your new way of working right on your doorstep. We've created a safe environment for you and your team by taking the principles of physical distancing and adapting them for the workplace. This includes how people move around our locations, with clear information and protocols in place to ensure everyone's safety. We have also reconfigured our meeting rooms to enable social interactions at a safe distance. And we're working to the highest standards of hygiene, with frequent touchpoint and workspace cleaning to meet global health and safety regulations. Our support teams are on hand 24/7 to help with any questions and concerns. And our in-centre teams are working harder than ever to keep people safe and working productively. We can help you find short-term space whilst the future is still uncertain, or enable long-term remote working setups on a global scale. Speak to us today and find a new way of working in our new world.
Thank you very much, Richard. And I could just tell there was a little commercial break here. But good to be back and welcome home, as we like to say here at Spaces. But on that note, home and working from home, I believe that we already have had some extremely valuable insights from the previous speakers. Gemma, it was fantastic, relevant the way that you described. Yes, it's viable to work from home, but it can also be less viable in certain aspects if it is not managed well, and it can even be abused by employers. On the other hand, Ruth was absolutely nailed it in how working from home is inclusive for women. It enables women to remain part of the workforce. I would like to add it also enables women to re-enter the workforce, at least gradually, the ability to work from home. But working from home there are pros and cons, as it is already apparent. If I say loud roosters and barking dogs and the Tahoe man passing by outside on the street, that's a typical backdrop when you speak to somebody in a business meeting. At the same time, that poor somebody might have very limited air conditioning, and most likely can say the same for the internet connection, very, very limited. But it has also been tested very well during these times, and many aspects of working from home has proven extremely valuable. In many ways, you can say that we have been more separated than ever before, but I think we also have felt more together because we have been in this predicament together, and we have truly been on a shared mission. In our company, sales vice presidents, we are about 20 globally. I would normally interact with my colleagues globally once or twice a year. During the last 100 days, we have been interacting twice a week. Never have we been closer, and never have we been able to be so agile, so adaptable, come up with entirely new solutions for our customers and our employees so rapidly. It's a good example, and it has been very inspiring. The entire learning process here, I would say that even the largest enterprises, it has been like a time machine. Working flexibly, working whenever, wherever, also from home. There was already a trend happening before COVID-19, but the learning curve now has brought even the biggest enterprises 5-10 years into the future. The head offices, they are now going to become more like group. To have a head office in a CBD area, that is going to become so much history. And as we are returning to work, there's not one single enterprise that has the right amount of workspace or the same requirements for workspace as they did more than 100 days ago. So who are the real winners here? I would say the winners, it is the suburbs. Luckily, we have the largest network, not only in the world, but also locally. We heard Carrie earlier. He has the franchise for our business in all of Mindanao. We are literally everywhere, and very much so in the suburbs. What I think has been big lessons here for the CEOs, and I know there are many CEOs on this listening in right now. For the CEOs, they've definitely learned that they have probably experienced, they've become much closer to their teams than they were before the COVID-19 hit us. And thanks to Teams and Zoom, we have excelled our abilities to really maximize IT. IT is what has enabled remote working whenever, wherever in the first place, but now we have really learned how to exploit it. For the CFOs, and again, I know also there are many CFOs listening in right now, returning to work and finding out that you have a big capital investment and a big long-term liability in an amount of workspace that you don't need any longer. You need to distribute your employees, and yet times are uncertain, so they're not going to sign up for 5 new smaller leases and make capital investments there either. So there will be a big move towards short-term flexible solutions to distribute your workspace. Working from home, yes, is great, but either you get lonely at home or you get disturbed. The demarcation line between work and life suddenly has been overstepped. As Gemma was saying, it can be abused. It's very difficult for not only your children, but even your spouses to relate to the fact that yes, you are there and physically, and it is perhaps past 8, maybe even past 9 or 10 p.m. and you are still on a call, because when does work stop? When you literally have your office in your residence. And with that said, I'm looking forward to the questions, because then we can elaborate further. Thank you very much, Richard.
Very good. Thank you too, Lars. Yeah, there's a lot more that you can share. It's too bad we have to, shorten the usual time people have for presentations. I know I wanted to hear more from Gemma too, and so on. But anyway, we'll have some questions later on. But thank you very much, Lars, and keep up the great work. And yes, that is interesting. We have, people working from home doesn't always work perfectly. There's no question about it. Okay, our next speaker, we have Brad Sinatambi. He's head of